children, two miscarriages in between there. I always like to share that because, I think that many women struggle with that. And so there was a lot of humbling that happened in my life and a lot of struggle. And my third child has severe allergies. We almost lost him when he was 8 weeks old. He went into anaphylactic shock when I fed him formula, airlifted to the hospital. It was, I thought I had lost my child. It was insane. But that moment changed me as a person. Going through that first year of his life changed me as a person because it taught me what grit was about. No sleep, worrying about a child all the time. He, at one point we had nothing to feed him because he just was allergic to everything. And it was so hard. That year was so hard. However, I wouldn't change that year. I would never want to do it again. But I am so thankful that happened in my life because I truly believe I couldn't do what I'm doing with Plexus if I hadn't been through the weeds like that. And so I want to tell you that if you're in a weed season of your life, there is a reason and there is a purpose for it. And you've got to know that, but you've also got to realize that it's going to make a difference in your business if you embrace it and decide you're going to go grow through that. So I was introduced to Plexus as a stay-at-home mom of 5 kids. You know the story, totally exhausted, hormones all over the place, dealing with anxiety because of this child who I just would literally, I'd never had anxiety in my life, and I was a mess. I remember one of my friends bringing over a candle from Bath and Body Works saying, maybe this will help you de-stress. Candles help me. I went to the doctor and I was like, I've got it. I need something. Now, if you need to be on meds for anxiety, do it. Okay. I'm not telling you not to, but I was trying to, because I had never dealt with that in my life before, figure out another way to do it. And so at the same time, I had been watching, of course, on Instagram about the pink drink from Trisha, Clean House with Kids. Never heard of it before. So if you think your market is saturated, it's not. Never heard of Plexus. Watched for 6 months, which is another lesson. Most of the people that join my team watch month after month after month. And so that's why your consistency and your commitment to being consistent in your business is so crucial. Because if she would have stopped, I never would have messaged her. And so one exhausted afternoon, I sent her a message. And you guys, I was so anti doing the business. It's not even funny. I immediately told her, well, she had messaged me and she said, because I liked one of her posts, and she's like, oh, thanks so much for liking a post. Would you like some more information? I was like, no, girl, I was just showing you some support. I used to do, direct sales before, not my thing. And so when I joined, of course, we as a stay-at-home mom, I didn't have any extra money. And so I joined as an ambassador, cheapest way. I bought a 7-day trial though. Don't hate on those 7-day trials. I was one of them. And then joined as an ambassador, but I was a tough sale and definitely told her, don't talk to me about the business, but 2 things. One, I was tired of worrying about money. I was tired of putting all the pressure on my husband. I was tired of dealing with debt, and that cycle and that stress. And I really needed, and I've heard Emily talk about this, but I really needed community and I needed an outlet because I loved being a stay-at-home mom. I still love it. I love it. I don't want to give that up. Right. And so when Trisha said to me, you can work this business, she had just, when I joined, she was going Emerald. And she said to me, you can do this from your phone. I swear to you, I don't hold any parties. I don't leave my house. And if you know Trisha, you know this to be true. And I am about to go Emerald. And I was like, for some reason, I just trusted her. And I'm like, if you can really do that, all right. Because I was so burned out from doing all the parties and all of that. So now you might be thinking, well, she did network marketing for all those years. Of course, she's got 38,000 followers. Of course she went Sapphire in a year. Let me tell you, Working social media is totally different than calling up your girlfriend and saying, will you hold a party for me? It is a whole different skill set. And I had to humble myself and say, okay, show me how to do this. I stalked Trisha. I sent her, you guys, I would screenshot all my messages. I'm like, okay, so-and-so said this, what do I say? And now she said this, what do I say? I mean, I bugged her all day long because I'm like, I got to figure out, I'm a systems girl. I like to have a system and, keep it simple, sweetie, right? I am all about simplicity, right? And so until I could figure that out, I'm telling you, was like picking her brain 24/7. And so that I think is really important. If you are not adding 10 to 20 people a month, then I think you can definitely still learn something from your upline, okay? Because they have been there and they have done that. And so I feel like even now as a Sapphire, it's like I can never get too big for my britches because there is something still out there for me to learn. And so you guys, I joined in September. I'm a firm believer that you can work this business around any schedule, around any circumstances. When I joined, we had Hurricane Irma come through, which was stressful on so many levels. My son, we cannot go to a restaurant. I have to cook every single thing from scratch that goes in his mouth. So when we didn't have power for 8 days, I'm like using a camping stove. It was insane. It's 90 degrees. The baby's not nursing. I'm not producing because I'm sweating so much. And I went fast start gold that month because you guys, I was committed to changing the circumstances of my family's life financially. And so when I was like, oh, I'm just tired, I don't want to do this, I'm like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of worrying about money. I'm tired of it. We're making some changes. And so I know it's December and everybody's like, ready to fa la la and eat cookies and all of that. And that's great. We loaded up the kids tonight. We went and looked at Christmas lights around the neighborhood and listened to Amy Grant Christmas and all the things. You can have your cake and eat it too in this business, but you got to be smart. You got to work smart and not hard, right? And so don't let December be your excuse to say, I'm just going to go at it in January, you guys. And I'm going to get to Instagram and your questions, but this is really important because I think if you can't get this, then Instagram's not going to work either, right? And so I am a big believer in mindset and no excuses, no matter what's happening, whether it's a hurricane or Christmas, you can enjoy the season and still rock your business. I ranked gold in December last year. Okay. So let's talk about how that happened for me because it didn't happen from Facebook. It happened from Instagram. I did not have 38,000 followers when I started Plexus. I had just started my Instagram account, maybe a month earlier. So it was brand new. I grew Instagram and Plexus at the same time. Okay. And so, yes, you can grow it at the same time. Now, I'm not going to talk about the algorithm and all of that stuff because guess what? There's something called Google and you can Google it. That's what I did. I didn't know how to do it. I had no training class, none of it. Nobody was really working Plexus on Instagram except Trisha that I knew. Everybody was doing Facebook. But because I had been in network marketing before, all my friends were still in that company and it was just weird. My family was in it. It was just weird. And so I post now on Facebook, but in the beginning I was super stressed out about it. So I wanted a new avenue to work. I don't really leave my house. I'm home all the time. So I don't see people at things. I don't really have this warm market. I had definitely been a recluse at home for the past 5 years that I was home having babies and nursing. And so all I had was this app called Instagram. And I was determined to figure out how to make it work. And so what I recommend that you do is that you get on YouTube and you look at how to grow your account, the Instagram algorithm, learn the ins and outs. It's so funny because a lot of these videos are done by tweens. I mean, I'm like, you're so young and they have all these followers, but guess what? They know, right? The algorithm's always changing. And I think that it's important. This is what I think about Instagram, that you have to realize that you are building relationships with strangers. And so it takes time. It really takes time. I went fast start gold basically with friends and family. Okay. I did have some friends and family that did join, right? But it wasn't until, so that was September, and I started talking about it on Instagram. But these are strangers that are following me and they're like, what is she talking about? I watched Trisha for 6 months, you guys, 6 months. And it wasn't until December, January that I had a massive amount of people start joining my team from Instagram. And they were like, I've been watching you. I've been reading the testimonies. I'm ready, right? It wasn't like anybody hadn't reached out. It just all of a sudden that 90-day mark. So if you just started working Instagram and talking about Plexus, realize that sometimes it does take time when you're working with strangers. So I know one of the questions was, do people reach out to you or do you reach out? I will be honest, in the beginning, most people reached out to me, but then it kind of got to where I had to do some reaching out, okay, after about a month or two. And my goal is to always be talking to have at least 5 to 10 new conversations about Plexus every day, like active conversations. People who say, yes, you can send me info. So I do this a couple of different ways. I'm a big fan of testimonies. And so I will post testimonies on my actual feed on Instagram. I will leave them up for a couple of hours. That's the thing about Instagram. Once your post kind of reaches a peak of people seeing it, if it's still not hot after 3 or 4 hours, then I'll just archive it or delete it or whatever. But I love posting testimonies because I think that people relate to that. And so I would post 2 to 3 a week on my feed. Now, a lot of people do it in stories, and that's a great way. You can do polls and people vote on polls. And then I am very simple. This is my reach out message. Hey, Emily, thanks so much for liking my testimonial that I posted this morning. I super appreciate the support. Kissy face emoji. Would you like me to send you the scoop on the supplements I'm using? That's it. Hey, Emily, thanks so much for your vote in my polls. I super appreciate the support. Would you like me to send you the scoop on the supplements I'm using? Okay, that's it. And then, now this is really important. I think it's really important anyway, but it's really important when you're working with strangers, okay? You cannot talk a lot, and you cannot put long messages. You cannot, because it seems salesy. They're like not connected to you. You've got to do a lot of relationship building. So if somebody's like, yeah, send me the scoop, I am not going to send them the scoop. Oh no, I'm going to be like, all right, yeah, I'd love to share with you. Tell me a little bit about your health goals right now. And then we're going to go back and forth and talk about those health goals in a couple of messages and then I'll say, all right, well, listen, here, I know this is going to help you. This is what I'm using. I send the triplex video. I send that to everybody. Everybody gets that. And that's basically what I lead with, because I feel like everybody could use that. But I do a lot of back and forth before I send information. I will tell you, though, that probably 1 out of, like, if I send a thanks for liking my post or thanks for my voting in my poll, on a good day, 1 out of 10 respond yes. So my numbers are, I'm talking to a lot of people. Okay. On a bad day, it's like 1 out of 20 or nobody. Okay. It's not like everybody's like, yes, me, sign me up. Okay. Not that way at all. And so I send that message to a lot of people. Now, this is what's really funny. I cannot tell you how many people will message me and say, tell me about Plexus. And I'll look back and see 3 months earlier, I sent them a, hey, thanks so much for liking my post. You guys, so many times. Like, I have golds on my team that ignored my message. Okay. So that's kind of how it goes. Now, I do not transfer them over to Facebook until they join my team. I just don't. And there's a lot of people on Instagram that are not on Facebook, and that is challenging. It is. I'm not gonna lie, but I try and keep it there because it's like their safe zone, and because I work with a lot of accounts that like are also in decor and business accounts, that's just where they are, right? So that's kind of how I generate business. I tell my story as much as possible, you guys. I still, it has been over a year. I need to do it again, but I still go live and give a health update because guess what? Hopefully you're going to have new followers, and you never know, that person could hear you again and finally join. I will sit down, I'll share my story, I'll pull out the products, I'll show what I'm using. And it's like a public service announcement. And I just act like, yeah, everybody wants to hear about this, And I think that your posture is really important. You are not selling something, you are a professional sharer. That's what you do. And so watch some of these big accounts. If they're sharing something, P.S., they're making money, okay? If they're like, swipe up to see my cute new hat, they're getting a commission on that. And they're doing it in such an awesome way that you aren't even thinking she's making $2 off me buying this hat. You're like, I need the hat. It's so cute. She's wearing it, right? And so that's what you want to create. It's got to be fun. It's got to be light. Bring in a little seriousness every once in a while, but it's definitely attraction marketing, hardcore. Okay. I pretty much only post about the pink drink on my feed unless I'm doing a testimony, because I feel like that's just easy. And of course, no bottles, no bottles on your feed. That's not inspiring. You can do the pink drink, because that's cool, and people will be like, what the heck is that? But I don't really post about Triplex or Vital Biome or any of them, and I'm going to talk about somebody when I find out about their health goals, but it's just really easy to always just talk about the pink drink. That is, and they're going to see it over and over and over again. And I think that simplicity is just always the most effective. Growing your account, I think that networking is so important. And so once you figure out like what your niche is, so for me, I'm home decor, but also kind of lifestyle. And so I started figuring out who are the big wigs in these categories. Okay. And I'll never forget this girl named Crystal. She's so sweet. Want to be balanced life. And she's got like 100 and something thousand followers. Okay. She's not in Plexus, but I'll never forget in the beginning when I first started, and I would send these people messages just to make friends. And I'd be like, hey, I love how you decorated your daughter's room, or how did you do this? And I would like and comment on all their posts. And guess what? She followed me. Here I am, this like little newbie account. And I think at the time she had like 70,000 followers. And I was like, oh my gosh. And later I ended up doing a joint live with her and talking about motherhood. And it was just this like amazing moment. So you guys, you want to connect with people in your niche. And if you're like, I don't know my niche, well, your niche is everything that you want to talk about that's not Plexus. Your account can't be Plexus. I would be very cautious about doing like a healthy mama account, because I feel like those are hard to grow outside of getting all the Beachbody people. I would sprinkle that in. So I talk about health and wellness. I talk about my workout. I talk about recipes, what's for dinner, but my account is more lifestyle. So there's kind of three main niches that I think most people could fall into pretty easily. There's the motherhood, which means that you're going to talk about everything motherhood, the struggles, the good, the bad, and it allows you to also post pictures of children, your kids, right? If I post pictures of this is the difference, because I am not a motherhood niche, even though I talk a little bit about it on my stories and that kind of thing. So if I post a picture of my kids on my feed, it'll get like no likes. It's so funny because they're like, we're not here to see, that's not what we're here for, right? We're here to see a picture of your living room. Or we're here to see like a cute new outfit or something because I post that, right? So you got to figure out what your followers are there for, and then that's what you have to give them. So motherhood is a big niche that a lot of people, and you can do, and like Abby Kappa does, Reclaim to Motherhood. She does a great job at that. That is a perfect example of an option. Lifestyle. I feel like Trisha is a good combination of home decor. She started out true home decor, but now she does do some motherhood. And lifestyle is going to be some fashion. So if you're into fashion, or, and then of course that can also be decor. It could be cooking. Lifestyle kind of does all the things, right? One account that I love, not Plexus, but I get so much from her, is Living with Landon. Do you guys follow Living with Landon? She's like a rock star. And she's married to a pro athlete. She lives in Nashville, right? But her account is awesome. If you're not quite sure of what lifestyle is, she has a great lifestyle account. And I literally, this is IPA for me, because my posting, and that's how I get, like, my Instagram is also my business, right? That's my lead source. So I will spend time, not a lot of time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day watching her stories. Other people, Bluebird Kisses is also another really good lifestyle if you want a lifestyle account. And, you know, she will post a little bit of everything. Okay. You do need to have pretty pictures. Got to have pretty pictures. I recommend a preset. The Liz Marie blog has a great preset. It's only $15. That's the one I'm using right now. I have the bear and the potter. I like those. And they're only $15. But what I love about it is all you have to do is slap it. It's copy and paste on top of your picture, and voila. I am not a photographer, but you're gonna have to have pretty pictures. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast on Instagram. Okay. Let me think. What else? Oh, and then the third genre would be like home decor. Now, home decor, true home decor, is actually not going to have pictures of people, which is really funny. This is why this is important, because the algorithm knows, first of all, they're going to pay attention to who you follow. So you want to follow people in your niche. All right. Because they're going to pay attention to that. You want to use hashtags in your niche. And this is really important. Holy cow. I've been using the hashtag Sunday Fun Day because it's Sunday Fun Day. And I click every once in a while, I'll click on my hashtag to be able to make sure that my photo fits in with the other people posting. Let's just say it doesn't fit in. These girls were like wearing no clothing. I was so embarrassed. I'm like turning red. So don't use Sunday Fun Day. It is definitely not appropriate right now. My couch was 100% out of place. Okay. So, but click on the hashtags and see, is this fitting in with the people you want to attract? Here's the other thing. You have to think about hashtags as like going fishing. So if you are putting the hashtag healthy mama, who are the other people who are posting about that? Is it the people that are sugar addicted, that are going through Starbucks all the time, that are tired all the time, that are dealing with anxiety? No, it's the other people that are probably in some kind of health and wellness company. Okay, so you click on that hashtag, and are those the kind of people that you want to attract? So when I'm posting about, I love to post about the pink drink, and I'll list like 10 things it does, right? That's one of my favorite posts. You'll see a lot of them on my feed. So I'm going to use hashtags like exhausted mama, coffee addict, sugar addict, mama needs a nap. Just type in mama needs and basically all those things. Mama needs wine, mama needs a break, because I'm going fishing for those people. Does that make sense? And so hashtags are your way to do that. Okay, I hope I covered all of this, and y'all can ask questions, but I just kind of wanted to end with this. You guys, there is nothing special about me, nothing. I just decided that I wanted to make a change, and you guys can do that too. Now, here's the deal. Does that mean that you decide tonight, okay, I'm making a change, I'm getting on it, woohoo, and then life's going to happen tomorrow? And guess what? You're going to have to make that decision again tomorrow. It's not like you make it one time and then it's just smooth sailing. I have to recommit to my business every single day. And in this crazy season of life, fun season, I don't want to miss a thing. And so, you know, Emily and I were talking about schedules and how do I do it? I homeschool the 3 younger ones and the other 2 are in school, which is extra nuts, and, you know, all the things, right? So I get up at 5, sometimes 4, and I work until 7, until my kids get up, and I work. And then I work at night from probably, you know, I don't know, 8 or 9 until 10 or 11. And you would be surprised how much you can get done, you guys, totally surprised. And then, you know, I make little pockets throughout the day, right? That I can work. So, you know, I have some big aspirations and dreams and goals. And so that might not be as much effort that you're putting in because your goals might be a little different. You see what I'm saying? And so, but the effort has to match your goal. And so to go Sapphire in a year, if you want to go Sapphire in a year, it's going to take that. Like, I'm going to be totally honest with you. However, I am so thankful that that's what my work looks like instead of getting a sitter, leaving. Like, think about the alternative. I always think about, okay, if I was going to be making 6 figures doing something else, I know what that looks like. I know it means, it was for me, I was not tucking my kids in bed at night. I was missing events on the weekends. You know, I had no life, right? So I've been there. For a lot of moms, it looks like daycare. It looks like, you know, a 12-hour day, right? Where you're gone. And so Plexus, you guys, is totally different. And you have control over those hours. You got to put them in, but you have control over them. And so imagine if you really took inventory of your day. And by that, I mean, you wrote down every single hour of your day. I guarantee you would find some hairy moments in there where you're like, oh, I could be doing something productive in this, right? And you will find the time to work your business. And is it worth it? Yes. It is 100% worth it, you guys. It really, really is. So, okay.
Okay, I have a question. Yes, it was amazing. So I have a question. You are a stay-at-home mom. You've got a ton of kids, but how many times do you post on your feed? You do a story every day. Do you post on your feed every day? And then I have a B question with that.
Okay. So I post 1-2 times a day at most. It's quality over quantity. So every time you post, you need to say, why am I posting this? What value is this adding to somebody? Because if it's just like, oh, I got to get a post up today, wait until you really feel it. Now, you can save your post. You guys know how to do that? On Instagram, you can save your post. So you can do up like a week's worth of posts, and all you have to do is go in and then post them. Trisha's about to have a baby. That's what she's doing. Now, stories, I do stories like crazy, okay? And I recommend that you face your followers. In the beginning, I was totally scared to do this, but you got to turn that camera around. They need to see you. They need to connect with you. You can post somebody's pretty Plexus photos all day long, but what's really going to connect with somebody is you, okay? And there are filters, okay? I will tell you my biggest secret. I use the airbrush filter. It's the little purple one with the stars. There you go.
Okay, so my question though, this is something that I struggle with a lot. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I feel like I don't really have a brand, which I know you probably hear all the time, but my brand is motherhood. I'm trying to figure out how to like get into this bargain mama thing, like sharing about sales and, you know, things like that. And I was actually speaking with somebody today, and she said that can be your brand for sure, but you just have to change up the pictures. But here's the thing, like if I'm not posting pictures of my kids all the time, that's all I do, you know, like I do Plexus and I do kids. So that's my life right now. So how do you come up with this content? And your house is probably not like Michael Jackson size of a home. How do you find pictures all the time of like your space that's different? It's not the same picture. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think, well, and to me, Emily, you're funny. I could see the bargain thing happening. I'm sure, I mean, I think you're really funny. And so I think that is huge. And that is value adding. Do you talk on your stories? I need to go watch your Instagram.
I just get a hot mess. I get nervous. Yeah, I do, but I'm ridiculous.
Yeah. But all those funny things that you say, you need to say to your followers. Okay, here's the thing. Stories are where it's at. That is where it's at. That is where the companies, when you see me sharing about like companies that, they don't really care about you posting anymore. They're like, talk about me in your stories, because especially with Swipe Up, that's where everybody's making money, right? So I would focus more on your stories than your feed. I mean, you know, if you're doing a motherhood account, I agree. Well, it could be lots of kids things. I mean, if you like to dress up your kids, my kids look like a hot mess. But there are some like Trisha has hers totally coordinated and gorgeous and takes the pictures. That is not me. And so I do not post, like, I'm about to post this picture tomorrow and I realized that Whit has like 2 different socks on. And I'm like, oh my Lord. And know this about my house. I have a whole bunch of junk behind me when I take that picture. So I'm like moving the stuff. But okay, I mean, you just have to think about the story you're telling. So if you're going to post about time freedom that you're working for in Plexus, you're going to post a picture of you reading with your kids. You're going to maybe post a picture of the outside of your house and say, this is where I reside all day long. This is where I work my business. This is where my Plexus Lexus is going to be parked. And I'm so thankful that this is my office. You know what I mean? So you just kind of have to get creative, and you're creative like that, Emily. I mean, you totally are. And what you can do, what'll happen is you'll be thinking about post in the shower, and then I'll be like, what would be a good photo for that? The other thing, I do a lot of copying, basically, or getting inspired by other accounts, not Plexus related, when I need content. So I'll go to Bluebird Kisses and I'll be like, what is Anna up to today? I don't know what the heck to post about this week. And so I'll see some of the kinds of different posts she did, and then I'll do my own little version, if that makes sense.
Are all of your pictures your pictures, unless you're like sharing somebody else's picture, or are they from Unfold, or are most of your pictures yours?
They're mine. Now on stories, you know, and do you guys, you know how to do this, right? You hold down the screen and then you can screenshot so that, you know, we can all share each other's stories, which I think is awesome, because I have people on my team that are amazing at graphics and way better than I. So one Plexus, woohoo.
Okay, I don't want to take up too much more of her time, but I've been asking all the questions. I know some of you are like chomping at the bit to ask some questions. Does anybody have any questions for this amazing woman?
I have a quick question, and I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I've been trying to up my Instagram game up the last few months, and I'm getting like, the only people that are following me are like businesses, and so like not like real people. And so I'm trying to figure out, how do I get to real people to follow me instead of just other people trying to sell things?
That's a great thing. And sometimes the only people that follow me in a day are like the Prince of Arabia people, and I'm like, block, you know. So my best piece of advice would be to make friends. And so what I do every single week is I make a list of 10 accounts that I want to make friends with. And so when I sit down to do IPA, the very first thing that I do is I pull up their account and I like and comment on their latest photos and I watch their story. And I give them a week. And if they don't follow me back or engage, off the list. Okay. But these are people that like I genuinely like and I want to be friends with, and they're already kind of in my niche. And I do that every single week. And so hopefully, you know, maybe 5 will follow you out of that. And you'll make connections.
And you find them through hashtags?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I click on hashtags and I go through and I'm like, ooh, we could be friends in real life. Write her account down. And of course I'll follow her. Let me say this too, you guys. If your Facebook account, if you are getting a ton of business from Facebook, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I don't want you to just stop what you're doing and try and go figure out Instagram, because I am not a Facebook guru. Okay. And so, I mean, seriously though, if what you're doing is working, keep doing it. All right. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I rarely get something from Facebook. So, you know.
Hey, Marianne,
that's not my thing.
If you send cold messages, I mean, do you send cold messages to people about Plexus? And what does that look like? Total strangers you don't know. Have you been cultivating a relationship with them, or have you just seen them and you're like, oh, they'd be amazing, and you message them? What does that look like for you?
I only will cold message, thanks for liking my post, or thanks for voting in my story. I build a lot of relationships before I cold message, or what I'll do is I'll watch who's watching my stories. I'll look to see. And then if you post a Plexus story in your stories and they make it all the way to the end and you notice that they've been kind of doing that for a while, I'm like, they've been watching. And I might send them a message. But usually the cold messaging that I do on Instagram is thanks for liking my post or thanks for voting in my story. And short and sweet. I get cold message from other companies about the business all the time. And all the time. And I don't know. I just don't myself. I like to short and sweet it like that. And part of that's just my personality.
Well, it's working, sister. We all need to have a personality like Marianne Anderson. Okay, does anybody else have any questions? I want to let her go in just a second, but I know Hannah, there we go, girl.
Yes, one question. So when you are planning and mapping out, is it like, are you very scheduled and disciplined, or are you just like ahead of yourself with what you're going to post? Like, I'm trying to figure out like how to game plan.
Yeah. I guess I'll go in like spurts, you know, and sometimes I'll be like real creative and the words are flowing, and then sometimes they're just not. And I know that doesn't really answer your question, but I try to at least always go to bed at night with my post ready. For me, if there are 2 times that I can post, otherwise forget it. I either will post between 7 and 9 at the latest in the morning, or I will post at 9:30 at night. Never during the day. It's just a waste because nobody sees it or likes it. So that it takes a lot of pressure off of me, but I like to then be able to have something ready to go first thing in the morning.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions? All right, Marianne, we are so grateful for you spending time with us in December with your family, and you've got so much that you're doing and so much. Oh, Kara says thank you so much. Sorry, I just called you out. I'm so awkward. See? Marianne, we love you. We are so thankful for you, and we are rooting for you. She is shooting for Diamond in February, March. So we are your biggest cheerleaders, and we are so thankful for you, and we cannot wait to see you at convention. Thankful, so very thankful for you. Thanks for being on tonight.
Bye, guys.
You guys have a good night. Bye.